for the seating, a lot of the kids don't know, I didn't tell them. I have also a major in sociology and sociopathic behavior and all that kind of stuff. And I've always been interested in why people react and act in certain ways in a social group. And through the studies in college, when I was doing that, I found out that the more you could sit people so that they weren't in lockstep rows, they were sometimes in an arc or in a circle or different things like that, it helped with the social reaction and interaction, and nobody felt necessarily superior or above or anything else. It was always, we're all kind of equals here. We're all kind of in the same mix, and if I set myself in that, it was allowed me to include myself in that type of social setting, even though I wasn't.
And when we were there, I think you had your desk at the head,
right.
and then there was like a U, a big
That's
like
right.
a horseshoe.
That was the best I could do for large classes.
Oh, it was great. I mean, yeah, there's never anybody
Well,
in front of you or behind you, or
Right. There was another rule that I had, though. It was my rule. I said, no, don't ever let a student get behind you. Don't ever let a student get behind you. Just a rule. Because when they're behind you, you don't know what the heck they're going to be doing. 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 kids in the class, you're at a disadvantage. You're 1 to 50 or 1 to 40. In my later teaching career, it was 1 to 160.
oh, jeez.
And that's pretty crazy, when you really think about it. How do you manage 160 freaking kids in your class? And, you do it by using whatever wisdom and stuff you've gained over the past 20 or 30 years that you've been in there.
Where was that you were?
Royal Oak, when I was
Royal Oak?
teaching there. I had a choir that, getting ready for concerts and everything like that, we'd put 160 kids in the room and work them. And they were all girls.
Oh.
And the tough part was, they're all young girls. And another tough part of it, quite honestly and frankly, is at least 15 to 20% of them are on their period for the first time.
So, it's junior high as well. What years were you in Royal Oak?
86 to 2003.
And what years were you at Sunflower?
61 to 85.
Wow. And then, were you at Charter Oak at all?
No, I did do subbing there on occasion. And then the year I retired in 03, Richard Evers, who was my principal at Royal Oak, became principal at the high school a couple of years prior to that.
Was Royal Oak at that time a high school or middle
junior
school?
High, junior high.
Okay.
When I moved there in 86, we went to Royal Oak. It became a junior high. They closed Ruddock.
Oh, okay.
And all the students from Ruddock and Sunflower all went to Royal Oak.
Oh, right, because Sunflower is like for kids that have issues. Or
now it is. Well,
yeah.
What it is, it's homeschooling. It's all the little pieces of education that education has to do nowadays, kind of put on one campus. So you have your homeschoolers there. You have sometimes your problem children there in another area. You got other children that need independent study. Some of them can't go to other classrooms and need heavy monitoring. So they're all kind of there, and it works well.
So tell me about some of the other things that you had in your class that were unique. I mean, for example, the whole running out with a chair to the fence, and also the Star Spangled Banner that we all had to learn a verse, and some of the other things.
I'll do the chair thing. I'll do another.
Okay.
One of the things that I found early in my career was junior high kids are extremely high energy. I mean, they are high freaking energy.
Yes.
So how do you do that? Well, one way you can do that is to burn it.
Well, just hearing the story made it seem like much worse than it could have possibly been.
What you put out in your life, you may be able to receive back tenfold. This is where I'm so gifted. I'm so glad I worked hard and enjoyed and loved my kids.
Yeah, people, when they see you, I mean, they tell me, "Oh, I saw Mr. Kane, blah, blah, blah." It's got to be nice to receive that back, huh?
I can't even begin to tell you. I had probably 100 some odd birthday wishes on the internet.
Yeah.
And what a gift. I literally sat in there and just read them weeped because it was so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. And these kids actually, they really say the most wonderful things.
Well, everybody meant it too. I mean, it's amazing how appreciated you are.
And I'm so blessed, and I look at it and I go, every ounce and every piece of energy and every frustration that I ever had in teaching, I had them, I guarantee you. Worth every second. It was worth every freaking second.
Well, it was great. Look, I don't want to forget this story. I gotta have you retell it, and that is, where were you working when you were 64? And what did you do? Okay.
And the Beatles sang the song 64, right?
Yep.
And I had one of my parents bring in a rocking chair, and I taught the kids a song, and I sat in front of the choir while they sang during the spring concert when I'm 64.
That's great.
And I kind of acted out little things and played around with it. But, the kids will remember that.
Yeah.
I remember it. It was a great day. That was a year before I retired, because I retired in 65. And so that would have been 2002. And they're great kids. I mean, they were great kids. But there were so many wonderful times. And every year we sang Christmas time, Carol of the Bells, Hark How the Bells, Sweet Silver Bells. We sang that for 41 years. And you mentioned earlier the Star Spangled Banner.
Yes.
I can tell you exactly why I did that. And I'll give you another story on that too. Because what better way to learn what history is about than to look at what was done during history? And one of the things was Francis Scott Key's writing, using the lyric, the melody of a drinking song, by the way,
Yes.
the Star Spangled Banner. And the first verse is not the powerful verse. People don't understand that. The second verse is extremely dark, very dark. I challenge everybody to look that up. The third verse is descriptive of battle and the blood and the difficulty. But the best verse, the one we should all be singing all the time instead of the first verse, is the fourth verse.
There are 4?
There are 4.
I thought there were 3.
And most people only think of 3, but there are 4. And the fourth verse goes like this. Oh, thus be it ever, when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved this nation. And conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, and God is our trust. And the Star-Spangled Banner in triumph shall wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave.
If you'd like to get back in touch with Mr. King, you can find him on Facebook. Just search for T. Robert King.